Okay, I'd like to call this meeting, final meeting of the year of the Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board to order. The posted agenda is going to be, well, we're going to have all the public hearings listed, but we're going to be making a few changes and because of lack of information, things of that sort. I'd like to hear a motion to adopt and accept Jim's meeting notes.
So moved, Melody.
Second, Edna.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And I think we've all had a chance to read the draft December 7 minutes. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved, Melody.
Second, Edna.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. Correspondence and announcements. Well, I don't have anything myself. Jim, I think you had something you wanted to.
Yeah, I just had one. It's a project I'm involved in. It's something that I think the planning board might be interested in, as well as anyone else on the meeting tonight. The Dutchess County Transportation Council, which is part of the county planning department, is currently in the process of developing their countywide transportation plan. And they have a website set up at movingduchessforward.com. And thought everyone might want to take a look at that and check it out. I believe they have a survey open till the end of the year. But you can go on there and take a look at what they're doing and provide any comments you have regarding all modes of transportation in Dutchess County. So just wanted to make everyone aware of that. And if there are updates, if there are any, I will certainly bring those forward in the new year. Thanks, Michael.
Jim, does that, I mean, are they looking for things like where communities feel there are road issues or problems or high traffic areas? I mean, what exactly are they looking for?
Yeah, it could really be anything. A desire for, a change in the transit system, issues with roads, whether it be congestion or, a common, a common problem spot or location. It could be a bike trail, sidewalk conditions. I guess it could get down to an intersection, but a lot of that does get to the municipal level. It's usually a higher level issue, but the higher level plan does work itself down to the municipal level eventually in terms of funding and projects and priorities. So really this is looking at, the countywide priorities. And then it does drill down a bit as well. I think the website does a really good job at kind of explaining that. And they're looking for any input that anyone has about things you'd like to see in the future.
And what's the deadline again?
Well, the project is going on for about a year or so. I think the survey is online until the end of this year. So for another week and a half or so, I believe. I'm not sure if that'll be extended, but I think that's the deadline at the moment.
So we over the years as a planning board have talked about the density of development or the possibility for development on 9G, that corridor. Is that something we should be bringing to the table in this conversation?
In terms of new development?
Well, as a gateway road and one that is potentially subject to development.
Yeah, I think it's something we could certainly mention. And, as more and more development comes in, that very often can help justify new or modified transit routes. And certainly, looking at where investments need to go and how things need to be assessed moving forward. So yeah, certainly as the town is developed and things change, especially if it's related to a specific corridor.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing to bring forward because that's really what Dutchess County focuses on. They focus on the transportation elements.
Okay,
So
thanks.
it's movingduchessforward.com is the website for the plan, or you could get it through the Dutchess County planning website as well. And link to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think
We
we're
also-
ready for our first public hearing.
We also had to do the 2021 calendar change, Michael.
Yes, why don't we do that first? As Gretchen found out, our second February meeting conflicts with, what does it conflict? I forgot what it conflicts with, but
President's Day.
thank you. And so we have to change it to February 16th, if that's approvable by everybody. Could I hear a motion to move that second meeting to February 16th next year?
Move.
Thank you, Edna. Second?
Second, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. And Gretchen, thanks for catching that. Okay, our first public hearing is for Margot Lulick at 14 Hutton Street, site plan and special use permit. Is the applicant or representative here?
Yes,
Very good. If you can explain to everyone exactly what you have in mind here.
Well, we're before you for a pergola on the back porch, which is the existing back porch, and a skylight in the roof of the front of the house.
Okay, and I think,
at the last meeting, you had asked us to update some drawings. So that's what the
Yes.
first photos were.
okay, I think,
So at the last meeting, we'd put these pictures up that you see on the screen now, if everyone remembers these. And then as it was just stated, there was the discussion of installing the pergola in the back corner of the house. And these were the sketches for those. And then we'd asked, as it was just noted, for details on the skylight, and that was what was just submitted and is new for review tonight. So that's what you see on the screen here in terms of where the skylight would be located,
Correct.
and then the specifics of each of those. The specific of that.
okay. And who did the site visit for this one?
Sharon and I did, Melody.
Can you tell us what you all saw and what, any comments you might have?
Yeah, well, it's always surprising to me when you go to Rhine Cliff how steep some of the streets are. And this was one of those cases. It's a lovely property. It has what I would consider an unusually large backyard, laid out beautifully. And so the pergola that we're looking at, that's being proposed, is going over an existing deck. And there's not going to be any change to the support structure below the pergola. This is really being added because it's facing west and the afternoon sun not only is making it very hot on the deck, but certainly hot in that extension, that sort of L extension that comes off the back of the house. There's no change to the backyard, no change in terms of foundation or support. It's just a superstructure going on the top that could easily at any point in the future be removed. It's totally reversible. As far as the skylight, we looked at that earlier and we wondered about its placement and why it was off center, and it's really off center because of where the load-bearing wall is and the staircase when you go into the house. We didn't go in, but we could clearly see what the alignment of the interior rooms was. What was most interesting to me, and Sharon can, I'm sure Sharon will agree, is because of the slope of the street and the way you approach the house, when you go up, you're approaching the west side of the house. You can't even see the top of the roof at all. Possibly the neighbors from across the street will be able to catch a glimpse of the fact that there's something there. But in terms of it being visible from the street level or from adjacent property owners, it really will be impossible to see it. So although, you know, we don't usually love to have these kinds of penetrations in historic houses, it certainly is not going to detract from the facade of the house in any way. Sharon, I'll defer to you.
Well, you covered everything. You can't see it at all. The pergola is great. The afternoon sun is pretty intense, so they're both good additions and no problems.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have a CAB report? Someone who would like to give their report? I know that we did receive one.
Yeah, we received a report. Joe Kupiak did a site visit, and He didn't see any significant impact to the LWRP, which is LWRP. And he wrote that the skylight will be on the front side of the existing two-story structure's roof, but will not significantly impact the look of the house, as it will be less than 20 square feet. The pergola, to be constructed on top of the existing deck, will only be partially visible from the surrounding area, as it is located in the rear of the house and is in character with the structure. So he didn't have any issues.
Thank you very much.
Michael, I also think that you got a letter of support from a neighboring property,
Yes,
from Darren and Dana Page.
yep, we did indeed.
Okay.
And any questions from other members of the planning board? Jim, do we have any members of the public interested in commenting or questioning?
Not so far. If anyone would like to, you can put a note in the chat box or unmute your line. Michael, I'm not seeing anything, so I think we're good.
Okay. Could I hear a motion to close the public hearing, please?
So moved, Melody.
Second, Edna.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All righty, I have a resolution to read. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the applications by Margot Lulick for site plan review and special use permit under Town Code Chapter 125 for construction of a pergola and installation of a skylight at 14 Hutton Street within the Rhinecliff Hamlet and Rhinecliff Overlay Zoning District. We reaffirm the proposed action as type 2 under seeker, and based upon review of submitted information, including reports from planning board members and CABWAC members on their site visit to the project property, we find the proposed work is consistent with the objectives and regulations of Chapter 125. With respect to the application for special use permit to authorize work, we find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with the general standards for special use permits set forth in Chapter Code 125 and grant the requested special use permit conditional upon receipt of site plan approval by the planning board. With respect to the application for site plan approval, we find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with Town Code Chapter 125, and we approve the application inclusive of the application materials by Tate Construction, 3 skylight drawings and pergola renderings by NINH Interiors Limited dated June 21st, 2020. We authorize the planning board chair to stamp and sign the above cited site plan upon the applicant's satisfaction of the below conditions and/or requirements within 6 calendar months of the adoption of this resolution. Submission of the above cited site plan in the phone number specified within Town Code Chapter 125, except as modified to a lesser number by the chair in consideration of filing and distribution requirements. Payment of any outstanding fees or reimbursed amounts due the Town of Rhinebeck related to the review and processing of applications subject to this resolution, and receipt of all approvals, authorizations, or certifications required herein, or any other town, county, state, or other agency as required to undertake the proposed action. Could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved, Sharon.
Second, Edna.
Thank you, Edna. I will poll the board. Sharon,
Aye.
Edna,
Aye.
Melody,
Aye.
Delise,
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So you're all set. Once you get the final site plan for me to stamp and sign, you will be able to get a building permit.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you all.
very welcome. Best of good luck.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Enjoy the holidays.
Thanks. You too,
You too.
everyone.
Okay, our
Bye-bye.
next public hearing is Jennifer Parsons, and she has requested that we postpone or continue this public hearing to February 6th at 6:35 PM.
18th.
Is that, whoop, hope I got that right. And I think at this point, I don't know if there was anyone here who wished to speak at this point on this application, since we have the public hearing open.
So it's continued to what, February?
We're going to continue it to February 6th at 6:35 PM.
No, 16th. It's the
Oh,
16th.
16th, yes, I'm sorry. Whew. And it says 16th right there. Okay. Since we have no one wishing to speak, could I hear a motion to continue this public hearing to February 16th at 6:35 PM?
So moved, Michael, Edna.
Thank you, Edna. Second?
Second, Melody.
Thank you, Melody. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Very good. Okay, our third public hearing, Hannah Barrett, 317 Mill Road, site plan and special use permit. I believe the applicant is here to present.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, could you tell us what you're choosing to do?
Yes, we are constructing a shed on our property. So it's a
Yes.
metal building with a metal roof and metal sides, windows, doors. And we also have our contractor, Nafir Garcia here to answer any questions.
Okay, well, I guess our first move is to ask the members of our planning board who did the site visit if they could report on their findings.
Michael,
was
Edna
heavy
did
and-
the most significant part of the site visit, so we should have her do the report.
Okay, Edna?
I was marginally there.
Okay, as you can see on the site plan, the property sits between Mill Road and a stream that borders the western and southern sides of the property. The stream is a tributary to the Landsman Kill. The 100-foot stream buffer line is not shown on the site plan, but covers over half of the depth of the property. This is a small parcel. And as you can see, the lot line on one side measures 172 feet. And on the other side, I think it's a little less. So as I said, the buffer covers half of the depth or more of the property. And this indicates that the building site is within the buffer, the stream buffer, as well as the existing shed and the existing septic field, which is directly west of the house. When I was at the site, I could see that all of the land on the parcel slopes from the road toward the stream, from an elevation of about 130 feet at Mill Road, about 115 feet at the stream bank. And I was told by the applicant that water flows from the road toward the building site during heavy rain. And so some sort of special precautions with the foundation would have to be made. There is a narrow line of trees and shrubs along the stream bank, but not the kind of thick, wide plantings that would effectively screen the stream from runoff. I was told during the site visit that the proposed shed is to serve as an artist studio and storage area for paintings. It will be heated and air conditioned and obviously electricity run, and a water line will be run from the house to the site for installation of a slop sink. It wasn't clear to me how disposal of sewage would take place because the septic tank is near the house, uphill from the site. I suggested that the proposed water and sewer lines be added to the site plan.
Could I say something here? What are the sewage lines that are necessary?
I was told that a water line would be run from the house to the site for installation of a slop sink.
Okay, but there will be no bathroom.
Right, but a slop sink has water running from it. It has to go to a septic system.
Can I
Yeah.
speak? I'm the contractor, Nafir Garcia. So what we're planning on doing with this matter is run a drain pipe that goes to the septic, and the way it's gonna run up the hill is according to the specs that we needed for the slope. there's going to be a pump installed that would rid of the water in the septic.
Okay,
The only other thing I had to add, Michael, is to note that the property is in the Water Resource Overlay District, an area according to the zoning law with several major streams and tributaries, and where surface and groundwater are considered vulnerable to pollution. And this section of the zoning law specifically instructs the planning board to determine three things. One, whether, given the important environmental objectives of this district, prohibition of construction would be unreasonable as applied to this parcel. Number two, whether conditions for approval could reasonably ensure that the proposed construction and use would not result in increased flooding or pollution of surface or groundwater. And number three, how to implement the law's requirement that, quote, a 25-foot wide natural buffer shall be maintained from the normal stream bank for all activities except for those dependent upon the recreational use of the stream course. In this case, there are existing trees along the stream that would supply shade to any new plantings below them. That is all I have.
okay. Kathy, anything you wish to add?
No, thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of concerns here. I've been reviewing the actual application document for special use permit and for site plan. And all we have listed here is the utility shed for storage purposes. There's no mention of an artist studio. There's no mention of
Yeah,
any
we never
plumbing.
said
There's no
anything
mention of
about,
electric.
we never said anything about an artist studio. We said storage and possibly the, some minor crafts for which we would use the sink.
And there is no mention of plumbing in this, in any of the documents that we have here, that it was to be a storage shed to store equipment, garden equipment, things of that sort.
We
Utility storage.
mentioned it in the last meeting that we had with you.
What we need to have it is in writing. As Jim said earlier, we need to have everything in writing as to what is to be proposed here. For example, as I look at the site plan here, I don't see any depiction of how water is getting to the proposed shed or how any of the wastewater from the proposed shed is getting to any septic system. And I also don't see where the septic system is. So I don't see how that hookup is going to happen. I also don't recall hearing anything about heating and cooling for storing art, pictures, things of that sort. So
We
the
also
problem I
mentioned
have is, I'm
that
sorry?
also came up in the last meeting, that we would use mini split heating and cooling. We did.
But it's not in any of the documents that we have
Well,
before us.
I followed the checklist that I was provided to the letter. I went over everything with.
I can tell you what I have right here, because I have the documents here. On the application for a special use permit, what it says is that it's going to be construction of a 21 by 24 foot utility shed. There's no mention of any other accoutrements going with it, any other things such as plumbing, such as electric, such as heating, such as cooling, just a utility shed, which generally is just for storage of
But
equipment.
why wasn't
Same
that
thing
brought
on the
up?
site plan review and approval application. It just says a 21 by 24 foot utility shed. And this is clearly more than just a utility shed. It has very specific functions apparently, and some somewhat sophisticated equipment in terms of the heating and cooling, for example.
I don't understand, because we went over these in the last meeting. We said that there would be a sink, and we said that there would be electrical and heating and cooling. I recall
And you have
saying that
nothing-
when we store paintings, they need to be somewhat climate controlled.
I can understand that, but from what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing now, which is the site plan, I don't see anything here indicating anything to do with water use. I also don't see how power is getting out to here. I don't see where you're locating, for example, the compressors for the, I assume you're going to use a heat pump of some sort. I don't see where that's depicted. I assume it's not going to be inside the shed. It's going to be outside it somewhere with electric going to that as well. All that, we need to have this documented because it goes into the record. We don't have any of that here.
I just don't understand why it's being brought up now, why you didn't make these comments in our previous hearing.
Because this is the public hearing, and I don't recall all of those things that you're mentioning at this point. And if you did, indeed, we would have said we need to
I
have them
did.
depicted. We need to have them on the documents, because you're presenting this to the public. And looking at this, that information is not here. And I think Jim also had a comment in terms of some of the information that needs to be corrected. So I will defer to him.
Yeah, so Hannah, the last meeting was kind of the preliminary presentation of the information. And I think, part of what did come out of that was a discussion of, some of the things you had proposed adding, which we didn't see in the application. And I think, what we need is really what Michael had said, that we need that stuff in writing. So, this is the public hearing, and this is where we do try to get into these, the preliminary, initial meetings where we try and catch these things early on, but it wasn't in the application materials. So it did come up at the meeting, and that's when they started to get reviewed and discussed. So as Michael had said, on the plans, if you're planning to put in, water and it's going to connect back to the septic, all of those lines need to be shown. The electrical, connections need to be shown. And the other question that was raised, that we're not entirely sure exactly what's going on, we're hoping you could help clarify today, is that there's some different dimensions shown. On the site plan, it shows a 26 by 24 pad, but in the application materials, we had a spec, and I think on the plans for the shed itself, of 21 by 24.
That's
So you actually
correct.
have different
It's
dimensions. So I didn't
21.
know if that was the difference between a shed and the like a concrete pad it was going on, or what that might be. So we're looking for clarification of that as well. And all of it really needs to be, documented in writing. And again, some of this, like you said, you did raise it last time. And so we went back and assessed what we had in our possession to review. And then what we think we still need to be shown on the paperwork. So that's kind of where I think the issues stand, as far as we're concerned. And if you are connecting into the septic, then I think, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, we also, you'll need to talk with the county health department about the ability to connect into your existing septic to make sure that that's going to work for them. But Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. You know that better than I do.
No, I would strongly recommend getting in touch with them, because you're going to have to run a line somehow. And looking, I can see where your septic tank cover is. I don't see if you have a leach field or whatever it is that you have that deals with the leachate coming from the septic system, or if it's just a cesspool or whatever. But the health department is definitely going to want to know where these different elements are, since you're going to be hooking this waste line into your existing septic system.
Michael, this is Edna. I would also like to see on the site plan, the line indicating the stream buffer.
Yes, that would be 100 feet in from the high water mark of the stream, which is where that would be figured from.
So are you saying that I need to take the survey back to Marie Welsh and have her put that in, or?
Yeah, those, where your lines are going to run need to be shown, where the pump is going to be located for that line to run up to the septic needs to be shown. The utility tie-ins, those types of things, all need to be shown.
I mean, can we have our contractor draw those?
If they can do it, right to scale, because then we'll probably have to show it to the health department, or you'll have to show it to the health department to make sure that they're okay with you doing this. And they'll want to know exactly where the lines are going. There are sometimes separation requirements between the water going to a facility and the wastewater going from the facility. And exactly what they might say about this, I don't know. I'm not up to date on all of their regulations, but they may have some questions, particularly if there is a leach field, where is it? How does it function?
I mean, there's definitely a leach field. It's drawn in here. It's just not labeled.
Where is it?
It's, can you see my cursor?
No.
No. What I can see is I can see the septic cover. I see that. Then there's a shed up above. an existing shed, then there's the
So
proposed shed.
the line that's below the septic cover, do you see that? There's like a line that shows, that's the edge of a hill or the edge of a raised area. And that whole area in which the septic cover is labeled, that whole area is the leach field.
Okay, that does need to be shown. Since you're proposing to hook this into your septic system, we need to know where that is. The health department will want to know where that is.
So will you, after this meeting, provide me with a new checklist of things that I need?
We can do that, sure. Basically, it's all the improvements that you're proposing for this, the shed plus all the improvements that are going to go to it. Water, wastewater, electric, where I know you're going to have a compressor. If you're having that type of a heating cooling system, there's going to be a compressor outdoors somewhere. Where's that going to be located? Is it going to be on a concrete pad, or is it just going to be sitting on gravel or something like that? How do you propose to install that? That will need to be shown. And exactly, where is the leach field? That will need to be shown. Water
Michael,
to and from the shed.
Michael,
And
can
as Emma has
say
pointed
that
out, we need to see the buffer zone for the stream.
Michael, it's Melody. I was also suggesting that we need a clear indication of how the building's going to be used. Is it just
Yes.
for storage of equipment, or is it, as it seems to have evolved, more of a art studio? I'm not sure. I think we're just not clear as to the entire usage of the building, and that would be very helpful for us to know going forward, how all these pieces fit together.
I was told specifically that it will be used for creating artwork as well as storing paintings, that there will be a workbench along one side and that a slop sink would be provided because an artist needs a slop sink.
Well, I'm only asking that we have clarification from the applicant in writing.
I agree completely.
Right, so all the items we discussed today, some of them need to be added to the site plan, but we need it all in a written description that we can add to the existing application. So we have that detail.
Okay.
And Hannah, while you're here, I'm sorry, go ahead, Michael.
No, go ahead, Jim. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say before, to make sure before we do, whenever we end this discussion, I would still like to get a discussion, Hannah, from you, an explanation of the differences and the dimensions for the shed and the area on the plans, but maybe we'll get to that in a second.
Okay. Well, no, we can do that. What I was going to do is ask Gretchen to when can we continue this public hearing?
Let me look. January 19th at 6:40.
January 19th at 6:40. Thank you, Gretchen. Okay, Jim?
Michael, do you need any revisions in plans? What, 2 weeks before? How long before that January 19th meeting do we need to see revisions?
It would be 2 weeks because
Okay.
there'll be additional information for an existing application.
All right, so that's shortly, right?
January 4th, I believe.
Okay.
So we would have to have these plans by January 4th.
Into Gretchen, yes.
For the January 19th meeting, yeah.
And what's the meeting after that? If we can't get that done by then.
February 1st.
February 16th.
16th.
I mean, you can check the dates with Gretchen, Hannah. And
Okay.
I mean, we don't have I don't have the calendar in front of me, so I'm not quite sure. But I know revisions have to be 2 weeks before the next board meeting in order for the board to be able to review them.
So to answer the question about the shed, it's 21 by 24. And
I think what we're saying is we need to have these answers in writing.
yes.
Yeah, no,
This conversation doesn't, I'm sorry, I mean, we believe you, it just doesn't count. You have to address this in terms of the site plan application.
yeah, Melody, this is Jim. I just asked for a quick explanation of what the difference is.
Sure.
Just since we were on the call.
Okay, But don't you
So hand,
reflect it in the
oh,
application?
absolutely. We want it reflected in writing for sure. Yeah, all of this. I was just curious, since we have you on the phone, if you could just let us know what that difference was really quickly and the purpose.
And what I think you might want to do is give Dave Pearson a call down to the health department to see if he does want to see these plans, if he does have any concerns. If he doesn't, then all you have to do is depict where the water line is going to go, where the waste water line is going to go to get into the septic tank, and exactly where the leach field is. And his phone number, if you have a pencil ready,
Okay,
is 486-3541.
And I assume, Michael, that an email from Dave would be sufficient.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Telling us if he has any requirements, or if he doesn't feel that anything is necessary, which is possible. But when you're
Okay.
dealing with septic systems and adding things into them, he's always concerned and he wants to know exactly what's happening and why.
okay. We'll do that.
Any more questions or comments from the planning board? Okay, could I hear a motion to continue this public hearing to January 19th at 6:40?
so moved, Melody.
Second,
Second?
Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Okay, and if you have any questions, give Gretchen a call, and she can work with you and work with us as well to get you the answers that you need.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and good luck.
Thank you.
This can definitely be resolved.
Okay.
Enjoy the holiday.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our next public hearing is another one that we're continuing at the request of the applicant, Kathy Marriott, at 2628 Bolenbecker Road, site plan and special use permit. I think they're still working with the engineer and whatnot on this, trying to get the different documents together and information. And so she has requested that we continue the public hearing to February 16th at 6:40. I think that's right. Hope I got that right, Gretchen.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. Could I hear a motion to continue the public hearing until February 16th at 6:40, please?
So moved, Edna.
Thank you, Edna.
Second,
Thank you,
Kathy.
Kathy. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Our final public hearing for tonight is Garden Homes on Route 9. It's for the wetland permit to put in a manhole cover and the outflow for the redirected septic system, sewage system for the Garden Homes Park, mobile home park there on Route 9. Is a representative here from Garden Homes?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Brian Dahlia, in-house counsel with Garden Homes. We also have our engineer, Mr. Pretorius, available, and our regional manager, Glenn Freer, has joined us as well this evening.
Okay. Just give us a sort of a quick, discussion of exactly what we're looking at tonight. I mean,
Sure.
we obviously have a
Sure.
much bigger project here, but our portion is just a rather small one.
Right. The only work that remained, as you guys know from our last meeting, this matter has a long history, and I won't take up too much of your time with that. But the bottom line from a wetlands permit perspective is the only work that's left to be done is only in the buffer area. And that work involves the force main along Route 9 on the west side of Route 9, which is the top of this drawing. And we have to run the force main under Route 9, sort of through the park under Route 9, and then north on Route 9 on the west shoulder of the road to right where the cursor is right now. And if you see the utility pole number 52496, just to the right of that on this drawing, we'll be putting in a manhole And that's the most sort of substantial work in the buffer area because the remainder of the work is being done by directional drilling underground. And in this way, we'll move the outflow of the treated effluent approximately 750 feet, I believe, downstream to into the same system where it's been being pumped for decades.
Okay, Edna and I did the site visit. Edna, if you'd like to report on what we saw.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot to look at. Most of the work is being done underground. The project, as you know, is permitted and supervised by the DEC, the DOT, and the Department of Health. On the other hand, it involves continuing effluent from the waste system entering a tributary to the Rhinebeck Hill. So it deserves, I think, a full description. And it so happens that Mark Dixon of the Conservation Advisory Board has written what I consider to be a superb site visit report that I agree with completely and really have nothing much to add to. So Michael, if it's okay with you, I would like to suggest that we ask Mark to give his site visit report.
Definitely will do that. I have
Okay.
nothing to add to your comments. And so Mark, if you'd like to give your report, that would be helpful.
Sure. Garden Homes is the owner of the Rhinebeck Community Mobile Home Park, a 40-unit mobile home community with an on-site septic treatment system that utilizes sand bed filtration to clear contaminants from the effluent, which is then disinfected through chlorination and released into the nearby tributary to the Rhinebeck Kill. This process has been permitted in use at this site for decades, but due to a dispute with a neighboring property, the outfall must be relocated. So CAB findings are there are federal and DC wetlands affected, but we don't believe the proposed work should have significant impact on the wetlands after construction. The most potential would be during construction. Our general findings are that work near the stream, the proposed outfall at the Route 9 culvert is in a sensitive stream area. Measures should be taken to prevent disturbance to the Rhinebeck Hill and minimize disturbance to the associated wetlands. There should be zero tolerance for any increased turbidity in the Rhinebeck Hill resulting from construction activity. Erosion and sediment control is another finding. This project involves excavation, trenching, setting manholes, horizontal drilling under Route 9, and concrete coring at the edge of a stream. Measures should be taken to contain disturbed soils, sediments, and slurries in the construction area and prevent tracking of material onto Route 9. That's my report.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Welcome.
Mr. Daly, I know that you have permits from DEC, speedies, and whatnot. Have they placed conditions into those permits addressing the issues that Mark brought up?
I'm going to defer to our engineer, Mr. Pretorius, on that.
Okay.
He should be, I believe he's on. Not on mute.
Then I will unmute. So we have details in a stormwater pollution prevention plan, the measures that will be taken to minimize the potential for any discharge to this tributary to the Rhinebeck Hill. We also have the state stormwater pollution prevention laws that we have submitted details on, and the plans have been approved by the New York State DEC and the New York State DOT. Those plans are in the possession of the town planning board, and I'm assuming Mark Dixon by proxy, that detail the measures that will be taken to minimize the potential for any sediment discharges or any problems with the coring of the concrete culvert. So
Usable, this is.
all of that has been submitted and should have been reviewed.
We have received a report from Ray Drakowski, our consulting engineer. We submitted all this information to him, and he has written back that he believes that both the SWIP and the other measures being taken from an engineering standpoint are adequate, that they should meet the requirements for preventing any harm, damage coming to either the Rhinebeck Hill or the surrounding area. So we do have that in our file. Do we have other questions from members of the planning board?
No,
Okay, Jim, do we have any questions comments from members of the public?
Anyone would like to speak, you can put in the chat box or unmute your mic.
Good evening. My name is Paul Stone. I'm the attorney for the Patels who own the adjoining property. This afternoon, I apologize, it was somewhat late. We sent over a letter to indicate that while we're gratified that they're going to stop the discharges onto the Patel's property, which have gone on for decades, which have worsened the wetlands on his property, which have polluted his property and damaged his property. While we're gratified that's occurred, the method on which this has occurred, and I guess the comments or the report to the board there really focused on the drilling on Route 9, but not what the impact was or may or may not be on the Patels. They excavated a whole bunch of their property to install a wall. They've installed a concrete block wall. This is all set forth in my letter. Okay, so we just wanted the board to consider or make sure that it had addressed, any negative impact on the Patel's property and not just on what's going to go downstream. We also said that we didn't see any SWIP materials submitted to the board, and that some other submissions that they should have presented at the pre-submission conference that was canceled in August of 19 have not been produced either. We find it disturbing that this had to happen, that the wetlands permit had to be applied for only after we appealed to the Zoning Board of Appeals. It was to us manifest that a wetlands permit was needed, and by attempting to circumvent the process, we just think Garden Homes has now been able to construct what is, there's questions about how it was constructed, what was done to Patel's property along the way, and it was done under the cloak of night, and only now is it being looked into. So that's our position.
Well, I would have to say at this point, the planning board, the only authority we have is over the application for the line, the manhole cover, and for the discharge on the west side of Route 9. Nothing else came before us, and there's nothing else for us to address at this point because it's not germane to this specific application. The SWIP and that other information was provided to us, and we provided it to our engineer who did review it, and he said he found it to be appropriate to the job being done to ensure that the conditions of not polluting the stream, of not damaging the area, that the speedies permit issued by DEC would indeed, the limitations would be met. And we have that in him from writing. And he's the one that we go by for engineering advice and engineering review of applications such as this.
Well, my only comment, my only response, sir, would be that the reason that the Zoning Board of Appeals found it appropriate for there to be a wetlands permit was because of the buffer zone, which extends from the Patel's property. That was the primary predicate for their finding that the wetlands permit was needed. And I think it's just been glossed over at this stage about what the impact is to the Patel's property as opposed to what it is to the Rhinebeck Hill.
Well, I can't speak to what damage might happen to Patel's property on this construction going on the west side of Route 9. My understanding was part of the problem was that the right of way, the state right of way, was 6 feet narrower than people thought it was. And that was one of the things that caused a bit of a problem with what permitting was or was not required. So that's all, as I say, all we can address is what was in the permit before us, the planning board. And that's the wetland permit for dealing in the buffer area to the west side of Route 9 for some specific work to finish installing the different outflow for the sewage disposal system of the mobile home park.
Again, we would just submit that the buffer extends to the other side towards the garden home side from the Patel property, and that's invoked also. That's our position.
Thank you. I believe that the culvert under Route 9 already exists. Does it not?
Yes, it does exist.
So that water from the Patel property already is going down through there and tributary to the Rhinebeck Kill. So that's already in existence now.
Yes, our concern or complaint is about the lack of supervision or the lack of any kind of consideration by your board about the work that was done adjacent to the Patel property, excavating it, altering the wetlands within the Patel's property, which completely went under the radar, but because of Garden Homes moving ahead to do the work without getting the wetlands permit.
I guess all I can say at this point is I can't speak to that. It didn't come before us. We have not had a violation of any other work done issued by our zoning enforcement officer. So in this case, this board itself is not in a position to make judgment on that. It's not something that's part of this application or that's been brought to our attention. Any other questions or comments from members of the planning board? Anyone else in the public who would care to speak, comment, or questions? Okay, hearing none, could I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Edna.
Second, Kathy.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. I have a resolution. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the application by Garden Homes for wetland permit approval under Town Code Chapter 120 for relocation of a septic outfall pipe located along Route 9 within the neighborhood residential and Crossroads Business Zoning District. We reaffirm the proposed action as type 2 under seeker. Based upon review of submitted information, including reports from planning board members and CAB members on their site visit to the project property, we find that the proposed work is consistent with the objectives and regulations of Chapter 125. And with respect to the application for the wetland permit to authorize work, we find the proposed work and intended use to be consistent with the requirements for wetland permits set forth in Town Code Chapter 120 and approve the application inclusive of the application materials and plans by Pretorius and Conrad PC dated January 22nd, 2019 and revised July 27th, 2020. We authorize the planning board chair to stamp and sign the above cited plans upon the applicant's satisfaction of the below conditions and or requirements within 6 calendar months of the adoption of this resolution. Submission of the above cited site plans in the form and number specified within under Town Code Chapter 125, except as may be modified as to a lesser number by the chair in consideration of filing and distribution requirements. Payment of any outstanding fees and or reimbursable amounts due the Town of Rhinebeck related to the review and processing of applications subject to this resolution, and receipt of all approvals, authorizations, or certifications required herein or from any other town, county, state, or other agency as required to undertake the proposed actions. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Karen.
Plethora.
Second. Could I hear a second? Is there any further discussion? I will poll the board. Delise?
Aye.
Melody?
Aye.
Edna?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay. Let me see what we have now. Our last items for we have one more new application. And this is from Mark Allen for basically it's a lot line alteration between two properties owned by the applicant. They want to actually just change the lot line separating the two properties, altering the configuration of the two properties. Is Mr. Allen here or a representative?
Yes, I'm here. Both
Okay,
Mark and Beth Allen are here. Good afternoon, good evening.
Tell the board what you want to do.
Yeah, it's really a two-part process, Michael. First, it started with a conversation with both Kimberly with the building and Gretchen with the planning about putting a garage, having Charlie Wiles construct a garage next to our home. And we realized if we did, we couldn't really do that until we kind of moved the lot line, because the garage would be too close to my parents' original line. I guess it needs a 37 and a half foot side yard setback, which would not suffice with the current lot lines where they are. So the process, we were always looking to keep the property, most of the property in our family. My grandfather bought this piece of property. It was 152 acres back in the day, 1931. So our goal has always been to try and keep most of the property in the Allen Murray name. So this process really with the garage kind of kicked the lot line, move it forward. And so the goal really is to have my mom's house, which is located on Slate Quarry Road there. We understand the minimum acreage for a home in this zone is 5 acres. So that particular home would have 5 acres, and we would keep the remaining 15 of their 20, which would give us 18 total acres.
Okay. Questions
So
from
currently, right
members
now,
of the board?
where it says revised parcel 1, that property was put in my name, my wife's name, and my sister's name back in 2004, and my mom and dad has lived there as a tenant. I'm not sure the exact terminology for that, but lifelong tenant. So my mom's 92, still with us. And she
bless her.
knows the long range goal is to keep the property. She asks me all the time, "You're going to keep the property in the name?" I said, "Yes, we are. We have full intentions of doing that, but don't really know at this point, Michael, if we want to own 2 homes. So
Yeah.
by doing this process now, gives us the option down the road of selling that new 5 acre parcel. And also that it would allow us to construct the garage, because that new lot line would indeed clear the side yard setback of at least 37 and a half feet.
Okay. Any questions for Mark?
No.
Okay, we have a resolution.
Michael, hold on, Michael.
And yes, Jim.
This is Jim. So, so note for the planning board, I sent out a memo last Thursday and didn't have any comments. I hadn't actually seen the plans yet. Mark, I did find a couple things on here. I was hoping you could take a look at maybe with your engineer to make sure that this is done right. So when I was taking a look at it, and admittedly, I'm measuring using a ruler on a computer screen. So we're all digital now, so I don't have full-size plans. I don't know that from revised parcel 1, there's a really small shed located kind of in the back of the parcel. I don't think it meets the setback requirement from the new parcel line, which is located.
That shed, Jim, if you're talking about the shed just below L16 line there, I think it's an L16.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep,
you're right there.
Yep.
That's a snowmobile shed. It's very portable. I can move that anywhere.
Okay.
So if
All right.
if that needs to be moved, that's easy.
Yeah, if it's an existing roof shed, it doesn't meet the code requirements. If that can be moved, that would solve that problem.
Okay.
And then there were 2 other ones. Maybe they'll be easy to solve, I hope. The first one is, I'm not sure, and again, I had to do a rough measurement on this, so it'd be good to have, your surveyor engineer take a look and confirm it. I wasn't sure that lot 2, proposed parcel number 2, meets the minimum lot frontage requirement of 240 feet. It looked like it came up a bit short, more like 200 feet.
So that's my current 3 acre parcel you're talking about. Parcel 2 has 3 acres. That's where I live currently now, Jim. So you're saying that does not have, because that lot line is not getting moved. I mean, if anything, we're gaining.
Right, you're moving it over to L19. That
Correct,
line where L19 is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're doing the subdivision, you're gonna have to make sure that new lot meets that new frontage requirement, unless I'm mistaken, Michael.
So you're saying parcel 2, where I currently live now, needs 240 feet of road frontage to Burger Lane.
Yeah, if we're gonna do the subdivision, that's my understanding. Yes, you need to make that to make sure it meets the 240, and it may be more than 200. I roughed it out at about 200 feet. Again, we just need to make sure that it meets the code.
So even though, Jim, that the the 3-acre parcel was grandfathered back in, I guess, 86 when we first subdivided the property. So even though that road frontage met requirement back in 86, it doesn't meet it now?
Well, it would have been grandfathered from back then. You know, I don't know, you know, we can look at whether or not it meets the definition of a flag lot. I'm not really sure that it does. But again, it's something we need to take a look at just to make sure that it is meeting the code.
Okay,
And maybe, you know, maybe it is closer to the 240. Again, I did a rough measurement and it just looked like it was coming up short. So if we are doing a subdivision, we need to make sure we're meeting the requirements that are out there. And I think you have enough frontage between the parcels now. Well, it's a little tough for me to tell, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not,
something we
again,
should
I don't,
look at.
I guess, now, would that be on our old surveyor map that Michael Dabo did it back in 86? Would that be on there? As far
I
as the,
don't know.
okay,
I'm not sure.
all right.
And then the other one related to that is the parcel width itself. There's a 400-foot minimum lot width requirement. I'm not sure that revised parcel 1 is going to meet that. You know, now all that said, you know, if it doesn't and you can't make it meet that, it may be that you need to look to get an area variance for those. But these are 2 items that I did find doing the detailed review, you know, when you submitted these materials. I'm just not sure we're meeting the criteria there.
All right, so when you say, let's assume worst case scenario, and we can't find the footage. So you said put like an area variance in it?
Yeah, you need to go to the
Apply for that.
ZBA and ask for an area variance for the lot width or something to that effect, depending on what it is, exactly what it is you're asking for, whether it's the frontage or the lot width. Because you certainly meet the area. There's no question you have more than enough acreage.
Yeah.
So it may be, you know, it maybe you have to discuss a hardship, or maybe you can find a way to squeeze it in. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. All right, but the next step, if Marie Wells comes back out here and goes, look, there's just not enough footage here. I can't make it up. so we have to go back to the zoning.
Yeah, you may need to go to the ZBA. Maybe it can be a flag lot. There might be something else you can do.
Okay. Since this whole process began with the garage, it sounds like I'm gonna, based on what I just saw with a public hearing two before us, for that art studio, do I need Marie Welch to put that proposed structure on this map?
That would be very
It
helpful.
would be, yeah, it would be very useful.
Okay. Now, so is there something, folks, that we could be doing at the same time as the lot line along with the garage? Is there anything we could do in side by side here?
If we work with Marie, and if you can't figure a way to get the proper road frontage for the 2 new lots, Marie can tell you how much, you know, you're off by. And at that point, you could apply for the variance or variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals, and your applications before them can be reviewed concurrently with us reviewing your proposed subdivision. Of course, we can't approve the subdivision unless and until the ZBA approves the variances.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
But as far as the garage itself, is there a step-by-step process that we could be doing concurrently with the lot line adjustment?
Well, the question I have about the garage, is it going to be behind your existing house?
Correct.
Okay, that's good. As long as the garage, well, you're going to have to wait. I think the reason you're doing the lot line change, part of it is to get sufficient side yard setback.
100%. Yeah. So basically, Michael, if you take that where it says frame dwelling in parcel 2, and really it's only going to be it's going to go right in that area, just right in that area where your cursor is. It's going to be at least 37.5-foot side yard setback from the new line there.
Okay. And I believe it's 50 feet in the
Yeah, I was going to
RC5
say
district.
it's 50
Well-
feet setback.
Well, for an accessory structure though, he can do 60% of the setback.
That's true.
Oh,
So it's,
So
it's
37
30.
feet would probably make it.
Yeah.
And Michelle told me 37.5 foot. I think Marie put that up here on the map as far as a setback, side yard setbacks. Met the
Okay.
requirement for my mom's
Oh,
property.
is that what the dotted line is?
No, a dotted line is the old, that's part of parcel 1 originally.
Oh,
That's the current parcel line, correct?
Correct, yes.
Right. So this right here, Melody, is it's almost like the flag part of a flag lot, but it wraps around
Got
this
it.
parcel and comes over here.
got it.
So this part here, this little flag looking part is going to be combined with what's labeled as parcel 2, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So that makes for a bigger parcel here.
Yep.
And that gives the side setback, which I remember we discussed in the pre-app meeting.
Yes, yes.
When you're talking about options that you had, that was the easiest way to do that one.
Yes, it kind of avoided putting in variances for that garage. If we're gonna move the lot lines anyway. let's just do it
Exactly.
Now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you move the lot line, then you can get the building permit for the garage.
Okay, but is there anything else I had to do with you guys before I put the building permit in, or I should say request a building permit through Kimberly?
Other than completing the lot line alteration here, I can't think of anything.
Okay, all right,
You're
excellent.
Mark, I did have one other quick question. I did
Sure.
see you had some structures, a generator, and it looks like a shed in the utility easement. When we do these, we try and make sure that we don't have anything sitting out there that may be an issue. Is that permitted? Or there aren't any, and I don't know the answer to this, any restrictions on putting something in that easement area?
I'm sorry, Jim, where, it's talking about the generator here by my mom's house? You back in there?
Yeah.
Do you have a
Yeah, I'm not
generator?
touching that area, so that's part
Yeah, I
of the
know, I'm
5-acre parcel.
I'm just noting that, I did notice that there are things that in the shed that are in the easement. I'm not sure, it's something to take a look at when you talk to Marie, just make sure that that's okay.
Okay.
Obviously it's already there. I get that. It certainly wouldn't be easy to move, but if it's in the utility and the utility ever needs to come in there, they're not going to like it being kind of in the middle of there, but it may be that it's fine being there too. I don't know. I'm sure the area is open and they can get through.
Oh, it's wide open.
Yeah. So those were my concerns. The other one is that you have 4 roofed accessory structures, but I think 2 of them are pretty small. So if they're less than 50 square feet, that wouldn't make an issue. But Mike, we'll send you my notes and you can take a look at what I have here.
Please. Excellent. No, this is all good. Yep.
The big issues really are just making sure that the lots meet the minimum, frontage and width requirements to make sure that they're legal lots.
And those again are 240 from my current lot, and then parcel 1 would be 400 feet.
Yeah, they're the typical standards in the RC5, and Marie will know that. And like I say, she, when she goes, because she has the actual, files, she may find that those do match. I'm just roughing it out here on my end. So if she says that the widths are there and you meet all of the setbacks, and she can just provide that in writing, then we're fine. It just
Okay.
didn't appear to meet it, based
So
on.
is it 400, just from my own knowledge? So is it 400 feet from the front of my mom's house across the front of it?
Yeah, it depends on where you meet. You have to look at the definition of where that line would need to be drawn. But yes, it's a 400-foot lot width.
Okay, Marie knows it.
And
Okay, good.
Marie,
All right.
Marie will certainly know how to measure that. Yeah.
Outstanding.
So I guess the only question I have is you're going to want to work with Marie in order to get on our January 19th meeting. I think we'd have to have everything in by what, January 5th? January 4th?
4th.
January 4th. And I guess the only question I have is, might it take Marie a little bit longer to get that ready? And should we not schedule the public hearing at this point?
Well, Michael, if it meets it and my numbers are just off by my measurements, then there really isn't an issue. I'm not coming up with numbers that are close enough that I can say it looks okay. It's coming up too far off based on mine. But again, Marie has the actual measurements and I couldn't determine them. Well enough.
Okay, so let's assume again, if Marie says, hey, there's not enough footage there, and I do have to go to the zoning, is that going to back up the January 19th meeting anyway?
Well,
if I have to go to zoning, can that get done?
I say let's just put it in for January 4th. And, Marie will get back to us.
Okay.
Well, we have it scheduled for January 19th.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
All right.
the meeting would be January 19th. The submission date is January 4th.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I
No-
apologize.
No problem. So it's January 4th by 2:30 probably, right?
Yeah, that's good. That gets it to Gretchen in time.
All right.
Okay. Well then, any other questions from members of the planning board?
Michael, do we want, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. What?
No, I think you're gonna go there. Go ahead. You're fine.
Okay.
I'm jumping the gun.
I have a resolution. The Town of Planning Board hereby acts as follows on the application of Mark Allen for a lot line alteration under Town Code Chapter 101 at 19 Burger Lane within the RC5 Rural Countryside Zoning District. We accept the application and supporting documents as adequate for further review by the planning board, its advisors, and the public, and we classify the proposed action as type 2 under seeker. We'll schedule a public hearing on the application for January 19th at 6:35 and direct the clerk to undertake or otherwise cause noticing and posting thereof. Who would like to go visit? Who would like to go with me to go visit?
I'll go with you, Michael.
All right, thank you. Michael and Melody will do the site visit. In accordance with Town Code Chapter 9, we refer the application to the Conservation Advisory Board for review and written comment concerning environmental factors, and we authorize without prejudice to any information or comment that may be presented at the public hearing or may arise based on both the above cited field visit and referral, preparation of a working draft of an approvals resolution for the planning board's consideration on January 19th, or as may be later timely. Could I hear a motion to approve?
I so move, Kathy.
Thank you. Second.
Second,
Second.
Delise.
Thank you, Delise. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good. What we'll be doing, Mark, is Melody and I will get in touch with you about coming out and just doing a site visit. Gretchen can help you with how to do the posting and the noticing and all for the public hearing. And if you have any questions, give her a call and, we'll work all together to make sure we get whatever information you might need.
Excellent. All right, thanks, folks.
You're welcome and
Take care.
enjoy the holidays.
You too. Merry Christmas to everybody here.
And you as
Very
well.
Appreciate it. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, we have two final items, and these are potential referrals to the HAPAC, both of which I believe deal strictly with interior work. And I haven't read what they are. I think that's correct.
This
Did I
is
misread
Jim.
something?
That's my understanding, Michael.
Okay. Well, let me zip through two resolutions then. They're just both interior resolutions and see if you agree with this. In the ones for Charles Schrager, the Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board, upon referral by the zoning administrator of a building permit submitted by Charles Schrager for interior renovations. One, we find that the interior renovations are not a review typically under the purview of the planning board. Two, does not have any comments on the proposed project. And three, recommends the interior projects not be forwarded for consideration by the planning board, and that the draft law be amended to remove these referral requirements, as such referrals create an unnecessary hurdle and delay for applicants. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved,
s-
Melody.
Second, Kathy.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And Charles Kurtz, this is once again for interior remodeling. The Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board, upon referral by the zoning administrator of a building permit submitted by Charles Kurtz for interior renovations. We find that the interior renovations are not a review typically under the purview of the planning board. We do not have any comments on the proposed project and recommend that the interior projects not be forwarded for consideration by the planning board. That the draft law be amended to remove these referral requirements, as such referrals create an unnecessary hurdle and delay for applicants. Could I hear a motion to approve?
So moved, Melody.
Second. Thank you, Edna. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Okay, well, that does it for me. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to bring up tonight or bring to the board's attention? Hearing nothing.
No, just thanks to everybody for a really good year. Everybody's worked hard. Thanks to Jim, thanks to Michael. There's a lot going on in Rhinebeck, and I appreciate all the support of everybody on the planning board.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for hanging in there because we have a lot of work to do. And we've been doing it under somewhat difficult circumstances, and yet somehow we've managed to keep things moving along, and everyone's still busy. So I guess we're doing a pretty good job. So I just want to wish you all wonderful, happy holidays, and hopefully for a much brighter 2021. And hopefully soon we'll be sitting together at Town Hall carrying on these meetings. I think it's something that we both prefer, all of us prefer to do that way. And I think it's a lot nicer to see our public and to be able to work with them. So I hope you all take care and stay healthy, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Have
Thanks,
a great
everyone.
holiday. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone,
all.
for all your
Again.
help. Thanks,
Could I
Jim.
have a motion? Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, we
Edna.
stand adjourned at